Welcome to Dicejunkies. I'm Xenodamus. I'm here with
Q.
And we have Michelle on the editor station.
Hey guys.
We have Mr. Bloodaxe in our chat room, moderating our chat room for us, live here on Twitch.
Mr. Bloodaxe.
All right, so let's get this going, man. What all we got now? I mean, this has been so the last 3 or 4 weeks have been rough. I mean, we've had all the emergency, social distancing, closing of everything.
You guys are not social distancing, by the way.
What's that?
You guys are not social distancing, by the way.
Yeah. I don't have my 6 feet distance here, so oh well.
We hang out enough that we've already said if one of us has COVID, it's too late.
Yeah. At this point.
So we just drink plenty of alcohol to try to kill it. We've been hitting the good stuff.
Oh yeah, no. Whenever he comes by, we just hit alcohol and go, all right, that'll cure.
We don't
whatever.
mean rubbing alcohol, boy. We talking about the good stuff. McCullen.
Like that moonshine?
Yeah, he hits the moonshine.
Blue Fire Moonshine. That's been
I hit
my
my
jam.
That stuff was
my
nasty.
McCullen 12 year.
You just can't handle that 120 proof.
It was rough, man.
Get real, girl.
I'd rather
It's
have
real.
the tequila.
I mean, you hit the nasty tequila.
Yeah, she hits the tequila, so
I mean, I'd rather have the tasty tequila,
But
but
apparently,
whatever.
one of the points of entrance is you gotta worry about getting in your mouth, so we're just drinking poison to handle that.
Yeah. It takes care of all those pesky symptoms.
We create a hostile environment for the virus,
There you go.
and ain't nobody suing us.
I'm not entirely sure that's how that works, but we'll go with it.
Hey, I mean, whatever, right?
Man, if I heard that, just go with it. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Things are getting weird.
So
Anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, what do we want to talk about, man? I mean, we've got some weird comic news. We got more Blizzard stuff. GameStop.
And specifically in honor of me and Bloodaxe's tour, we got a little info on the Gears of War update. By the way, everybody, it happened. When we get there, you're going to let it happen.
We can always talk about the Xbox and the PlayStation because
That's you, Mr. Tech Guy.
I'm still debating on which one I want. Like it's
PC for life.
Well, here, let's go ahead. Let's get ready for the Xbox and the PlayStation. So, I mean, and I guess this is also something. I mean, people, if you're watching this on YouTube or here in the chat, throw out what you think. PS5 or Xbox Series X. What
Sony still ain't apologized to me.
My problem is I have a PS4
and it's trash.
And that backwards compatibility so that I don't have to have 2 systems hooked up to play my old games is nice.
But the quality of living from the Sony online network compared to Xbox is massive.
I will say the interface for current Xbox versus the interface for current PlayStation, I would definitely go with Xbox. I don't know what the interfaces are going to be like for the next gen though. Maybe PlayStation figures something out.
You think they're going to invent a new network? They're going to use the same one. Because here's the thing, because I have an Xbox and I use it to watch all my YouTube and everything, I'm used to the interface. So when I come and interact with Wells' Zeno's system, man, when it's like he goes and he gets his Mortal Kombat update and all DOA update, or he's trying to play Castlevania, which we forgot. We're gonna probably go ahead and we can finally talk about that too since we finished it.
Yeah.
It's clunky as heck. It's all so much clunkier than the Xbox. So combine that with the fact that I can play. They've started doing a lot of cross-platform. I mean, literally, I can play with my boy Bloodaxe on PC or my Xbox, and he's only got the Xbox for Gears.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of cross-platform, because our boy Kitsune and Mishoku, his wife Mishoku, they've been doing Borderlands 3.
Yeah.
And I could go play with them. I think I need to check that. I believe I can go play with them also. I got to check. I think Borderlands 3 is trying to do cross-platform. But PS5 is not impressed me with its interface. their games just rarely go on sale. I'm gonna stick with Xbox.
I mean, my other thing with PlayStation, and this is why I sort of disagree with this article. I just threw this article up here as as sort of a placeholder to talk about the systems. Because if you scroll back up at the top, the article is basically the opinion of the battle between PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X isn't going to be decided. Oh, isn't going to be decided. Okay, I misread it when I originally grabbed the article. Yeah, and I actually do agree with that. I don't think it's going to be decided by specs. The biggest thing I think is, I mean, for one, is exclusivity. You know, those exclusive games, and that's another reason why I did sort of go with the PlayStation as well, for the God of Wars and the, you know,
I missed a lot of good
Spider-Mans and stuff like that you can only get on PlayStation.
That's true. That is true.
I don't know of a game that I'm like, I need to play on Xbox that is exclusive to Xbox. For one, there are games that aren't on Sony that are on Xbox, but those games I can get on PC. So, and I'm gonna have a gaming PC no matter what. So
no, I'm PC first and Xbox second, but PlayStation is still low.
And
on
I think
my
being
list.
PC first is what leans towards me going PlayStation second.
For efficiency, yeah, you're right. I mean, we all know it's just me and my ball of spite. I mean, I should have got a PlayStation. I didn't get to play the Persona games, man. I mean, I'm hurting. I don't know if Persona came out on Xbox also,
I think
but
Persona came out on PC though, didn't it?
Probably eventually, but
Yeah,
most of the time you
late.
gotta wait. And then like God of War, I really want to play God of War, but my spite is too strong. I am filled
God
with
of
venom.
War was so good though, man.
I am filled with venom and bile, as you know. Like I am stubborn enough to ride it out. I really am.
Yeah, so Persona 5 did come on PC.
So you know, it's like
Wait, you have 91 days to fit. What the hell?
But that was like in November.
Yeah.
But
Anyway,
essentially, I'm gonna stick with Xbox because one, I like the crossplay because I use my Xbox as a TV, so I need that convenience of the peripheral. It would be very annoying trying to constantly switch videos and apps and work with the PlayStation Network. It would get on my nerves. I mean,
you do have the advantage of the Microsoft subscription being dual effective for you though, because you can get stuff on your Xbox and
my
on,
PC.
on your PC.
Oh yeah, the game
Game Pass.
Game Pass is friggin' awesome. That's the other thing. The Microsoft Game Pass beats the PlayStation Game Pass for me for the most part because I consistently see games.
I looked at the PlayStation Game Pass and I was like, this is a miserable selection.
Yeah, whereas like we just got it. Like, dude, there's several major games like Metro Exodus, and like just recently they added Surge 2, a game I actually had on my Steam list as a game I was waiting to go on sale because I was like, I like action, and it came up on. I'm just like, that was so awesome, and I was like, oh, let me go take this off my want list for Steam. It just popped up on Game Pass. And I'm hoping one day that Borderlands 3 will hit the Game Pass, and I think it will. I think once it gets about its Game of Year edition, it'll probably hit the Game Pass.
Well, I mean, it hit Steam and immediately went for like 50% off, I think.
That's why I think it'll hit Game Pass. So, I mean, that's the biggest seller. You're right. Good job, man. The Game Pass is hands down better.
So, yeah, so that's where I'm divided on this. And yeah, like I said, don't think specs, because, I mean, honestly, I mean, if specs were a big account, there would be a different handle on the PS4 and the Xbox, current Xbox anyway.
I'm sure Blood Axe backs me at Game Pass too, because I literally wouldn't be playing Gears of War with him all this time if it wasn't for that.
Yeah.
Like, it's the reason I haven't gotten rid of my Game Pass, and because for a while there wasn't anything really new, but then they just came out with this new spread. Shadows of War has been on there for a while. So after that last release and I got to play Surge, I said, well, that paid for the last 3 or 4 months by itself because that's like a $30, $40 game. I played it all the way through and did New Game Plus. So I said, it pays for itself because they put out games that pay for the little monthly fee. What was it, $5, $10 a month? Pays for itself. Easy.
All right. Well, since you brought up Gears, let's I know you and Blood Axe both still playing it. I gave up on it a while back. I don't even have my Xbox Game Pass anymore.
No, I did call you at Surge. Is it like, you sure you don't want to play Surge 2?
Yeah. No, I mean, Surge 2 wasn't enough for me to go back.
But basically, Blood Axe is excited about this. I have too, because I've been calling it, and it happened. Gears 5 Operation 3 will be bringing out my boy Cole and Clayton Carmine, the original Grub Slayer. But I'm finally getting to play the Cole train again. And boy, he's on fire. No, literally.
I see.
Yeah, his ultimate, he gets on fire and he can set people on fire. And you know I love two things. I love getting in close and kicking ass, which he has a haymaker special punch, and I love setting people on fire and watching them scream. So it's like, in games, I love the ability to set people on fire and watch them scream. So I get to play Cold Train and burn people alive on the game. Looking forward to it.
Every time I hear about on fire, I still always, and this is probably an age thing. I remember back in the day there was an NBA game. So when you played it,
NBA Jam,
NBA Jam, and you'd end up on fire, and that's what I always think when somebody goes, he's on fire.
He was a thrash ball player.
Oh, okay,
He's got so, which is more like football, but still, Cold Train, baby. They're also doing some good updates to existing characters for the Gears fans. They're improving. One of the things that me and Blood Axe, after looking at the updates, have noticed. They're also adding Capture the Flag, so you may want to come back. They've got better PvP maps. They're going to do Capture the Flag now. And I know you're used to because I remember the PvP is what you were playing, and you weren't impressed with the modes they had.
Yeah.
But Capture the Flag is actual strategic, old school. That goes back to me and you are old. We played for the Quake, and what's the other one? It was Quake, and what's the other old school? Unreal, yeah. Tournament. So Capture the Flag is a good mode for them to toss in.
Yeah, like I said, I've always liked the death match, 1-on-1. And they had a lot of the group.
They have a special 2v2 shotgun match that's been added as a mode, and you just get in there with your nashers.
Or not 1-on-1, but I mean one for all. Where you have like 20, 30 people, and you're just killing everybody.
All right, I think they got some free for all modes, but new modes, new maps. Cole Clayton, modifications to new characters are all coming out Tuesday. Foz, a long-running character that me and Blood Axe have been on the fence about, is getting some really good changes. JD, for the JD fans out there, is getting gimped. Ha ha ha. I'm not a JD fan, man. He let Lizzie die. So I'm glad they gimped him. He didn't even start with GL anymore.
They gimped him in the story anyway.
You got to go buy a GL. Yeah, take that.
All right. Let's get a random encounter in here, man.
Oh, sorry, I'm busy hating on JD.
I know. That's what I was gonna.
I'm getting Cole and JD's getting busted down. Man, it was a freaking holiday. I was getting scared as April Fool's joke. Could this many things be going my way at once? I don't know.
All right. 4.
My favorite number.
Nostalgia Gold, your childhood best friend, and what is your best story?
Silence. Like that was eerily silent.
I have 2 people I was really close to as a kid. All of my best stories, we broke the law. So, I was running.
Didn't we already roll this one and couldn't really talk about it?
I would wrote something about best stories, and I literally was like, the best ones are highly inappropriate to the point that I don't feel comfortable incriminating others. Again?
No, we'll make them sweat.
Okay.
Well, no, you answer it then.
You rolled it. You rolled it, man.
I grew up with my god brother, Troyce, and we were like brothers, man. We were running, and we ran that neighborhood. Like, we had all the little kids following behind us. We go and we were just like a roving gang. Like, we ran the streets, though we was a bunch of middle class kids. So we didn't get in that much trouble. But like, we literally ran it so much that this new family moved in, and when they moved in, they put a big trampoline in the backyard. It looked awesome. So we saw that they had a kid. So I just went with my boys and knocked on the door and said, "Hey, we saw you just moved in the neighborhood. Can your son come out to play?" And we just adopted him and said, "You're our friend now. Let's go get on the trampoline." And we just jumped on the trampoline. That's why we did it. I did that like 3 different times when kids moved in. We went and got the kid and said, "You're a part of the crew now." You know, that's why I miss those days when that's how open people were. That you just like, you didn't have to worry about making new friends in our neighborhood. We came to you. You know, we came to you and said, hey, man, come on, you got a bike? You got a bike? Come on, we're riding bikes. That is a real conversation that happened. And what I'm talking about, we're like 10, 11 years old. I knocked on the door. We all rode our bikes into his house and said, do you have a bike? He said, I got a bike. I said, get on your bike. We're riding bikes. And we rolled him around the neighborhood. This is a different kid. We just saw a new kid and said, let's go get him. He's in the crew now. And that was the way we ran. And the funny story about the trampoline is that I saw God once because we were jumping on trampoline and being Texas boys, which means we're roughneck psychos.
All right.
We would do the stomp where you make somebody bounce real high.
Yeah.
And we were doing that, and somebody, my god brother, because it's the ones you love and the closest to you that hurt you the most, did the stomp right before I landed and shot me so high in the air. And at first it was awesome. I was floating up. I was over the roof of the house. That's the height I cleared.
Yeah.
And as I got up, I was like, as I got to the very arc, I said, I am no longer in control of my fate. I looked up at the sky, and I looked down, and I watched as the whole world, did you know the world is moving constantly? Because the trampoline just slid out from under me. And that's what it looked like from my angle. I looked down, and the trampoline just went. And I looked at the ground, and I said, I love you, Jesus. Coming to see you. And I hit that ground so hard that I don't remember anything other than waking up. Because back then, you didn't get a parent. Because you didn't want to get in trouble. So they just left me there in my crater. They just left me in the ground until I like reality came back. And I was on the ground. Nothing was broken. But I'd lost some time. And that might be why I'm crazy now. Because I hit that ground that hard.
Let's see. Well, this was 22 years ago, so I think the statute of limitations is should be passed.
You better do like me and find a legal story.
I'm not going to mention any names for this story, but I think I was 16 at the time. So yeah, 23 years ago. So a buddy of mine, he wanted to go and see his girlfriend. His girlfriend was in private school, and they happened to be off. And of course, we were in public school. And we didn't get as many days off, but
we got broke.
She was home alone. He wanted to go see her, and he didn't have a car, so he asked me. He's like, "Hey man, you mind dropping me off here?" And I was like, "No man, I don't mind. Whatever, you know. We'll skip school. We'll go."
This ain't a childhood story.
I got
a car.
I mean, I was 16. It's teenager.
I went all the way back, man. I went back to like the 80s.
So I'd gotten my mother's car. It wasn't my car. So I guess I was 15 because by 16 I had my own car.
40.
So 15. So I was also driving on a permit. So
nobody cared about that, man. We got a permit. We were rolling.
so we drive out, and it's out in the middle of the woods, man. This area I'd never been before, and so I drop him off, and I was like, all right, man, I'll swing back by here in a few hours. I'm gonna do some stuff. So I leave, and I'm going back, and I like I said, I'm not very familiar with this area, but I'm a dumb kid, so I was speeding. And apparently the road, there was a steep incline. I mean, very steep incline. And the stop sign was at the top of this incline, and it was sort of covered by bushes and stuff like that. So I go through and just go right past that stop sign, and it was a T. And there was like this cow pasture or whatever. So I end up flying. The car comes off the ground, goes over the fence and into the cow pasture, cracks the hubcaps.
Not bad.
Cracks the hubcaps because there's those little plastic hubcaps, and hopefully my brother is not watching this episode.
Did you blame your brother?
No.
Oh.
So cracked the hubcaps on my mom's car, and I'm like, oh crap. So I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to explain this. So I went, and I managed to get out of the cow pasture because there wasn't cows in it, and the gate was open. So I just drove through the field, drove out of the gate, got back on the road.
They walk out and they see tire tracks in their cow. No, you got to think about this, everybody. The farmer comes out, there's tire tracks, but they start in the middle of the field. The fence isn't broken. That had to be the weird. No, that's creepy. He
Yeah,
probably thought it was
yeah.
aliens. Because he's like, there are tire marks, but they start in the middle of the field with no other tracks, just in the middle of the field.
So I drive out and I'm like, okay, I've got to do something. I was like, at least the car, it doesn't seem like it's broken or anything like that, you know. So I go and I drive back to town and start cruising through Walmart and Jitney Jungle and all those little grocery stores till I find another Mazda, and I stole their hubcaps, put them on the car.
And see, I avoided telling those stories.
And got away scot-free. Nobody ever
Did
knew.
you at least put the broken ones on there so they had at least broken hubcaps?
Yeah, no, I did.
Okay, there you go. Wow, what a wonderful guy you are.
I only had 3 of them, though. One of them was gone. I don't know what happened to that third
He
one.
literally See, I wasn't going to tell any of my stories like that because, boy, me and my people practically put Blockbuster out of business, and that's all I'm going to say. I might be responsible for Blockbuster closing down.
Man, things we did when we were young, right? All right, so let's, speaking of young.
That should have been on the other list because that is like Blood Axe, you trying to send us to prison.
Speaking of young, let's talk about some new Warriors, man.
Go ahead. I'm gonna let you start this. Look, I've already been chewed out by an editor for my inappropriate use of terms and representing different groups.
So Marvel put out a trailer a couple weeks ago for a new comic called New Warriors. Well, it's called New Warriors. It's there was already a New Warriors, but so this is a new version of New Warriors, and apparently the writer was like thinking he was being targeting certain community that
he attempted to be inclusive to certain communities, which isn't a bad thing. He made original characters, also something we've been asking for. We said, hey, dude, don't just change characters, make your own. He did, but he made some spicy choices, we'll say. I've been told to use my terms better. You got on to me. You chewed me out for like 15 minutes about my words. So, spicy choices. And Zeno got in on it. Don't be using that word and that word. But in an attempt to claim back some terms that are considered negative, he decided to name his characters the couple of them, the 2 that are causing the most trouble, Snowflake and Safe Space.
Yeah. So
which did not sit well with a lot of people because it felt like you trying to say we're going to take back the word coon on this black character by calling him Coon Boy, and it's like and then it's a white male, cisgendered white male, as that's not my term. That's what they've been calling him. The communities he's been reaching out to have been calling him as cisgendered white male. Because cisgender is a stupid term to me in general. But and they're not happy about it because they feel it's not appropriate for him to be using those words in relation to these characters. So he's literally having trouble with his target demographic, and of course the people out there that are going to hate on it just because of what it is.
Yeah,
they exist. I'm not ever going to sit there and act like there ain't people that just went to downvote it because. But at the same time, he has the double negative effect of the community he was trying to reach out to said, did you call the non-binary character Snowflake, mother?
Well, it wasn't just that either, too, man. It was like they did like an interview with the guy, or they talked to him about the by the way, the new Marvel's trailer. Go ahead and click on that. Let's see what the dislikes are like now, because this is from when it came out.
You got to go to the
you have to click that YouTube.
Click YouTube. There you go.
But we're at
178,000
dislikes to 3.8 thousand likes.
That is
wow.
That is almost 60 to 1. That's 50 to 1. That's almost a 60 to 1 ratio. Or is it 600 to 1?
It's a lot. It's
60 to 1 ratio. Wow. So that means if you put 60 people in a room, 59 of them or 60 of them say hell no, while 1 goes, it's cool. And honestly, I don't have as much hatred for this. I think it's funny because Now, I mean, I am disappointed because we said make your own characters. We meant like try harder than that, though. I mean, I'd be insulted if this was the only black representation. If Black Panther had a gold chain around his neck and a big old fight the power fist on his shirt instead of an actual Panther theme, I'd have been like, really, dude?
Well, I mean, go back to the list of characters.
Not well done.
I mean, you sort of screwing everybody. I mean, you got the
Asian internet otaku.
Yeah,
You've got the non-binary black
the Asian
girl
guy
with
is
blue hair.
the internet guy.
Internet gas. His grandpa's experimental internet gas. The black non-binary character is called Snowflake.
Yeah.
Her twin brother is known as Safe Space. It has pink hair and basically has
guess
the power
the
of Stephen
goth
Strange.
kid's supposed to be the white guy. I don't know.
He's an emo. Well, I mean, he's pretty white.
Yeah.
But, he's super emo, negative guy. And then for I think it's supposed to be either Native American or South American. You chose a really large, overweight woman that you call Trailblazer who has Dora's magic backpack. This is not. But I mean.
Yeah.
But I want to say, it's just 100 times better than Children of the Atom, and some of the other times where they just go, let's race and gender bend characters. They are original. They're not well done original, but they're original.
One of the other comments that got me was when he was talking about the reason he created these characters was because because he read comics as a kid and
because he read the New Warriors and they intimidated him. While one guy has a knife coming from his wrist, and the other guy had all these muscles that made him feel inadequate. And I'm just like, dude, did you just say that live? Why would you record that and put that out? I was just like, wow. Like, I've never looked at a comic book cover and felt intimidated. I've wanted to be more like it. I see Luke Cage, big, tall, tough black guy with muscles and kick a lot of butt. And I go like, man, he makes me want to hit the gym. Like, dang, do you want to be like them? You're not supposed to be intimidated. To me, that's the attitude of a person that gives up instantly. You look at a character, you see they're tough, you see they're badass, and your first thought is, I'll never be that way. And you feel intimidated?
Well, yeah.
Come on, man. Like, believe in yourself. Like, look, I want to reach out and be like, believe in yourself, man. Don't just give up the second you see a muscular. He must hate going to a gym. He walks to the gym, sees people with muscles. He just walks out and starts crying. Oh, look at them with all their manliness and muscles. He just goes home and cries, and then he draws like weird characters.
He needs his safe space.
Pink force fields that I can only use when I'm protecting others. We're like all twins are psychic, but we're even psychic-er. Excuse me. That's psychic-er.
What do you think about this, Michelle? Why don't you throw up that editor's cam and let us know your thoughts? I'm curious here.
Hi.
I just want to put a little chip on her shoulder.
Well, so I don't really read comics that often, but I will say that this isn't a comic that I would probably read just because the characters themselves don't seem very they don't seem like heroes that I would want to like follow. Like, I don't know, like what would be their villains? Like what are they going to fight against?
Captain Misogyny.
There you go.
And Mistress Misandry. I learned a new word today, misandry.
I personally think that, in my opinion, like,
the mansplainer.
I like seeing heroes and villains like fight over like, actual, what's the word
real stakes.
Yeah, like real stuff, like
like the loss of human life and stuff
yeah,
like that.
Like
not
maybe
like
you've got like a building
issues.
full of hostages. Oh. Yeah, shut up.
No, I'm assisting. I'm being submissive.
Yeah, so like a building full of hostages and they have to go save them, and then like maybe something that character is internally fighting against, like believing in themselves. That's something that I would enjoy to read and see.
Saving babies, being thrown out of windows, stuff like that.
Well, no, exactly. Real superhero stuff.
Too,
I like internal struggles.
I'm glad you had to do that. That is awesome.
Well, that's what Be Negative is for. He's the internal struggle, right?
No, he isn't. He says it's good to be negative. Get it? Be negative. Yeah, that's what the guy said on the video. Don't you act like that was my bad joke. Okay, looking at me like that. I agree, because here's the thing. These characters, when they were introduced, did you notice that the most important thing about them is that, tell me what's the personality of Screen Time?
I mean, I didn't read the
What's
comic.
the personality? No. You watched the video.
I barely watched it.
I
I'll be
watched the
honest.
video, and you learned nothing.
I couldn't really.
You learn nothing about these people's personalities or struggles. They're literally just stereotypes. And that's why the community's upset, is because you didn't go, oh, these twins, they've been dealing with this, and no, it's just, they're just, hey, non-binary, hey, safe space, hey, screen time, because your parents say you can't be on the internet. Well, screen time can't be taken off the internet. That's the only way he describes them. I'm like,
well, no, and you had told me about the plot, and like I said, I couldn't make it through the video. But you were saying something about they passed some law that said that...
And then people under the age of 21 can't practice vigilantism. You have to be at least 21 to be a superhero. And they're like, not for that, man, down with the law. And I'm like, actually, I don't think people under 21 should be out fighting crime. It's dangerous. People shoot at you with guns.
Yeah.
Also, vigilantism is illegal in general.
I mean, Spider-Man does it.
Yeah, and he's not supposed to. That's why he can't really stop with the cops, and J.J. Jonah Jameson goes after him. I mean, I'm a big Spider-Man fan, but vigilantism is still illegal. And the law to me is not an invalid law. They're worried about inexperienced people running out there with powers, because this is a world that has mutants and all of that getting hurt.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad law. Mind you, I also like anti-heroes that break the law, and do it anyway, like Batman, so... But no, the main thing is that Trailblazer is the only character they gave even slightly a backstory to, the part where they said, hey, she grew up an orphan, I think, or either she helps out an orphanage. But like, they tried to put a little more story to her, but there's no story, there's no personality. I know nothing about these characters when they start. I don't know if B-Negative is violent, angry, does he fight, does he try to talk his way out of situations? How would I know? They literally gave you no personality. They just gave you their diversity traits. And that's kind of sad that they define this character. I mean, when somebody brings up, like, I'll give an example. I keep using one of my favorite black characters, who I support also because he's black, but also because I like him, Black Panther. Like, I know that Black Panther is a king. He lost his father. He struggles with the isolation of Wakanda and whether they should be more involved in external affairs or not. I know a lot more about what he's about. Usually when Black Panther gets brought up or even rebooted, the first thing out their mouth is, he's black. It's usually like, he's the king of this nation that's isolated. They go into story.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, that's also an established character. These are new characters. I'm not going to say not knowing their story right now is as big of a deal as you're making it out. But I mean, yeah, I can see where that can be an issue. But I mean, if you want to talk about characters that we know and we love, let's talk about Gotham High.
Well, DC said they ain't gonna be outdone. I'll put it like this: I think they owe some money to Twilight, and maybe Immortal Works and a few other. Basically, Gotham High is that they've got Melissa Dela Cruz who wrote a new story where the characters from Batman series are teenagers at a high school. Selena Kyle is dating both Jack Napier and Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is the brooding, rich, millionaire teenager, and Jack Napier is the broke but funny and sexy other one, and she's in a triangle, which she's actually happy about. They literally, one of returns, I think a triangle is the best shape, I believe, is what she said.
That was at the end.
It's
of
the
the
strongest shape, by the way.
Strongest shape. So
strongest shape.
Well, she says
it is.
Yeah, I mean, from position of pyramids, man.
No. The reason the strongest shape, there was a woozy novel I read not that long ago where one of the guys kept trying to cultivate everything into a triangle because it's the strongest shape. That's why I love woozy novels.
But basically, Selena is dating both of them at the same time, and they know. So this is a.
Honestly, this is less bothersome than New Warriors. I mean, it's obviously,
well, it's not offensive at all.
Yeah, no, it's obviously just targeted toward an odd audience. I don't, you know, and like you had mentioned, my biggest concern is we're not getting a lot of our classic comics out there. Like our classic comics are dying right now.
And comic book stores are in trouble thanks to that thing you're not allowed to talk about.
Yeah.
So I'm just worried that they're going to keep putting things on the shelves that are very niche. Because this is fine. This has got a very targeted audience. It's not an audience that reads comics, so that's the odd part about it. But it's a very targeted audience. I mean, let's be honest. This is not an unfair statement. Like they said, the best-selling co-author of Beautiful Creatures. The people that would like this comic usually read young adult novels. Romance novels. They don't do a lot of comic books. There are some. I'm not saying they don't exist, but they usually prefer the novel version.
This doesn't tend to.
It should be a novel to me, honestly.
This doesn't tend to hit the audience that goes in the comic shops, like, and I mean, not to be, I guess, stereotyping. But I mean, I've hung out in comic shops, man. I know the regular clientele to most of the comic shops.
Well, no, let's also be intellectual about it. Also, we're both avid readers. It's hard to tell this kind of story in a comic because of how little pages per comic. Like, it's going to be really slow burn.
It's a graphic novel, so I mean,
might have enough room, but like I think that this will make a good novelization. I think it's odd they're going for it. I mean,
it even says that Melissa Dela Cruz giving her readers the ultimate binge read. So I mean, obviously, this is not something meant to be a long running series. If it's a binge reader is usually you get a lot.
Perhaps. But you know, we'll see what ends up happening with. Well, not really. I don't care. I'm not ever going to look at it again. If it comes into my wheelhouse, it'll come from external sources. But I want to see something honestly, that's going to be a little bit more helpful to the comic book stores.
If DC wanted to sell this correctly, they'd probably do it in a sort of a light novel style.
That would be,
It would really work, I think, as a light novel style.
That could work. This probably needs to be turned into at least a couple hundred pages light novel, like to
or not light novel. What's the like the manga books would? But I mean
the basically a graphic novel.
Yeah, graphic. Well. But more in that manga style, those thicker.
Yeah, the thicker ones. That's what I said, a few hundred pages. Yeah. But this could be a read.
Graphic novels still don't tend to be that huge.
So people out there that would like those young adult novels, but would like to see characters from Gotham, they got it out there. My opinion is go for it. But I also think they need to, because they're also doing that weird reboot at the same time. They are not helping comic book stores get back on their feet with their very risque, financially gambling novels where you're like, this could do really well or it could make no money. And that's costing DC money to make it, and the comic book stores have it sitting on their shelf and it's just sitting there. And I'm not saying don't make this, I'm saying also please make some things that will sell in mass to a larger audience so that the comic book stores can recover and reopen when all this is over. Well, that's just a request from a fan who doesn't want to see local comic book stores closing down.
Yeah, I do see them re-releasing a lot of the classics as
that could help,
like combination, you know. So that may actually help, because I mean I think a lot of the classics are what people are looking for in the comics. Now, I mean, obviously, it's not going to help with a lot of your older readers who've already owned the classics or read the classics. But it may help with some of the newer readers that didn't get a chance to grab those classics, because I think they should have aged well. I think a lot of them, especially like X-Men, stuff like that with Marvel.
I mean, if they redraw it and update the graphics and I mean, if they actually redrew, not change the story, but redrew some of my favorite series, I could definitely rebuy like the Phoenix Saga. The Infinity Gauntlet redrawn with updated graphics, just like
comic
like to see that.
Comic printing is definitely a lot cleaner than it used to be.
Yeah.
Like I've thumbed through some of my old comics and gone, wow,
they've also updated some of the looks a lot better, and I wouldn't mind seeing like the updated looks where the costumes are a little less corny, but you don't mess up the story. So
yeah. Especially if you're looking at some of the old comics that still use the very really porous paper, versus the newer ones with that slicker paper, so you get a much more detailed
and the colors
print.
pop, man. Yeah. So if they did that, I would rebuy some of my favorite sagas in a minute. Easy. But all right, let's see.
Here, let's do another random encounter here.
Roll, sucker.
All right, I got a 12.
We keep getting these.
Trek Wars again. Let's see. Better trader race. Ferengi
From Star Trek.
or the Jawas.
I'm going to. Oh, well, go ahead.
I'm not familiar with Ferengi. You're gonna have
from,
to refresh me on that.
From Deep Space Nine, they had the big ears.
Oh, okay,
Dude, they're
yeah.
pretty
I know what you're talking about. I probably would have said, the Ferengi if not for
The Mandalorian.
the Mandalorian, which made me respect the
Jawas
Jawas more. The Jawas, they gained some face with the Mandalorian.
The Jawas were awesome, but I'm gonna go still with the Ferengi. The Ferengi are awesome. I am a huge fan of the Ferengi because I used to watch a lot of Deep Space Nine, and on Deep Space Nine they were a interesting culture. I mean, it's basically what would happen if a culture.
I remember
literally.
I didn't really care for the characters that much. I mean, I understood what they were. I mean, which I didn't care for the Jawas very much until, like I said, Mandalorians.
Essentially, though, the Ferengi are like a what if a culture, an entire culture evolved solely on greed and capitalism and commerce, and it was interesting. To see this because in Star Trek it was such an optimistic series where most of the races were enlightened and peaceful. It wasn't. Star Wars was always not really about like crazed intergalactic wars. It was actually about an integration of society. So to see this culture that maintained all the way in it was pretty interesting. That they're like, nah, man, we're all about the money, and it's literally our racial culture down to a T. It was an interesting concept.
Yeah, I know. Also, I just couldn't get into Deep Space Nine. Like, I ended up jumping over to Babylon 5, and much better than Deep Space Nine.
I'm just looking at these pictures and noticing how many people didn't do the Jawa faces right, because I remember when I played the tabletop, the Jawas are kind of like rat people, like one of the pictures there, but some of the others, they draw them differently, and I was always under the impression that they were like evolved from rodents, was what I remember being effectively. Like it was in that game, that's the way they were presented, like that. So some of the pictures seem to show them almost like bug people. I'm like, I thought they were rat people.
Yeah. Who knows?
The Skaven, man, they snuck their way in the Star Wars.
All right. But yeah, so I say Jawas. You say the other people.
Ferengi.
Yeah. What about you, Michelle? What do you think? You have an opinion on that?
Unfortunately, I don't think I could really comment because I don't really know much about either race. Sorry.
Okay.
I mean, I'll say that the Jawas look scarier, the least trusting.
What does that have to do with the topic, Blood Axe? Blood Axe says in the chat room, Jawas make good Jedi healers. We're talking about traders, though. Are they trading their healing?
He's talking about the tabletop. Yeah, I think they had the right stats to actually be pretty good.
The tabletop. I never played the Star Wars tabletop, so.
But all right, I think it's now. Where are we going, man? We're going to GameStop, or are we going to World of Warcraft?
We'll go to World of Warcraft, I guess. I mean, this is just sort of a plop it out there type of thing, slap it down on the table. Blizzard polls. Poland.
Wrong editor.
Blizzard polls World of Warcraft Classic players on possible the Burning Crusade Classic, and I'd already said this was going to happen. Like, the Burning Crusade was probably it was one of the most enjoyed expansions to World of Warcraft. So seeing it come to Classic or them. And I think the ideal was that some of the Classic servers, they'd split them up, and you'd be allowed to stay on the regular Classic or go to the Burning Crusade Classic. But I knew this was coming. Like, it's not surprising to me that they were going to try to get some more money out of Classic. I mean, Classic to me has a finite lifespan, so you got to keep doing stuff like this, or it's gonna die off. And I mean, it's not really a big concern to me because I'm staying away from World of
Yeah, I was
Warcraft.
shocked. I thought you'd be more into this, but you were saying that you were very determined. You're treating them like their PlayStation. You're like, that's your PlayStation. You're like, I'm done.
Well,
with
no,
them.
it's not like that, dude. I'll be honest. For one, I'm not really I'm just not really into MMOs anymore. Like, to me, the enjoyment I got out of MMOs when they first, were, with Ultima Online and with World of Warcraft was very community based. More people were having fun, in my opinion. Now, whenever I get on there, it's all about in-game stuff. Everybody's wanting to grind. There's always the constant mockery of you don't have the build, and stuff like that. And I just don't care for all that crap. I play games how I want to play games.
Well, as a business, let's look at the genius though that how Blizzard can do this all the way through. Like, this classic thing was absolute financial brilliance. They got a huge amount of money without even really making anything new. And now they're going to go into the Burning Crusade. They're probably just going to keep rolling classic versions of all their old stuff out again as well, all the way on out, and keep pulling in some extra cash. And it's from a financial point of view, brilliant. We're not even writing new stuff. We're not even really coding new stuff. We're just, bringing back the classic servers, and we're making cash off of it. It's smart.
Yeah, we'll see how far it goes. I mean,
I think it'll go at least one more. That's my prediction. I think they're going to go, what's the next one? Was it the one with all the stupid pandas?
No. That's like 2 or 3 out.
Okay.
Was it Burning Legion? The Burning. I know there's the Burning. Yeah. I don't remember the order.
I think they're going to go one more.
Pull it up for me. I can't remember the expansion order of World of Warcraft.
But I think they're going one more.
The Lich King one.
Oh yeah. Oh, they gotta go to Lich King.
I think Lich King may have been the next one.
They gotta go.
Let's see. Burning Crusade. Wrath of the
they're
Lich
going
King
Wrath of the
next,
Lich King, dude. They're definitely going Wrath of the Lich King Classic. That's a really popular one too.
And then Cataclysm wasn't bad, and then Mist of Pandaria was where it all went wrong.
That got stupid.
That's where I dropped out.
I was even playing it. I remember looking at that and going,
yeah.
But they're you heard it here. Q is saying they're going to go Wrath of the Lich King minimum. I don't know if they're going to go all the way out to Mr. Pandora. If they're smart, they might actually go a different direction. Pandaria, because if it keeps doing well, if they went and after Lich King went with something different, that people would be like, wait, we're branching the story. That would be a good way to also keep people going. If they said, we're going to actually not go Cataclysm, Mr. Pandora, we're going to, or go to Cataclysm and branch off after that into a different series of events, that could be interesting too. A what if storyline, because people would definitely come back if they found out that it was actually a new storyline. That would be tempting even probably to you.
I don't know. I think Wrath of the Lich King is probably the best place to stop. I mean, Cataclysm was interesting. It was good, and I still played Cataclysm, but just thinking back, Cataclysm is when things probably started going the wrong direction. Mist of Pandaria is where it really went bad.
I remember I wasn't even playing World of Warcraft, but I saw the Mist of Pandaria expansion. I said, that looks stupid. But that's why I said it might branch right after the Wrath of the Lich King. Like, that would be a point, too, that if you wanted to go in a different direction, you could go into a second canon, a different storyline, and if people, could pick their favorite.
Alternate history.
Alternate history. I mean, hey, it's been done.
Oh. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. Like I said, I was pretty sure Burning Crusade was coming. Like, that doesn't surprise me. I know several people who will be happy to see it. I personally, like I said, I wasted several years playing World of Warcraft. Like,
that shows all your opinion when you said wasted. I've wasted several years playing World of Warcraft.
But well, I mean, yeah. I mean, that's my current opinion. Like, I mean, I enjoyed it. I made some good friends. I still have contacts to some of my friends I made online with World of Warcraft. But at the same time, nothing would cause me to go back.
All right, you heard it here, man. You're gonna have to go talk to Damien if you want to learn more about it, because apparently Zeno's bowing
Well,
out.
and we have the Dicejunkies gaming channel that Damien does, and I think he's put some classic World of Warcraft stuff on there.
Oh, I know he's playing it. Yeah,
So,
he's big. Wow.
yeah, I mean, if you are interested in that, you can check out our Dicejunkies gaming channel that Damien runs.
There you go. Can we finally talk about the madness of the corporate world?
All right, so
Capitalism at
GameStop.
its
Let's
finest.
talk about GameStop, baby. There's been so many videos on YouTube of my life at GameStop or why I quit GameStop.
There are whole channels devoted to that.
This is almost an internet meme. So,
I used to work at GameStop. Did you know that?
I mean, just so many people have, man. Like this is the like for any teen gamer, like GameStop tends to be like a stop on the way to becoming an adult.
There is no reason for it to be that dang stressful, man. Like working at GameStop was weirdly stressful. It's a freaking retail store, but it was stressful. I've worked for pyramid scheme groups that were less stressful about your sales numbers, and they were pyramid schemes. They were like, hey, man, come in, sell these. You can climb the ladder. I'm not even joking. I've went and actually applied for a couple of those. They were less aggressive than GameStop.
Yeah.
And I'm being serious. I'm not even exaggerating.
So
They were
anyway,
less
so
aggressive.
GameStop basically told their employees to wear garbage bag or
No.
plastic bags on their hands.
Because they don't have anything to, like, they literally are not providing crap. They're not providing gloves. There's one bottle of hand sanitizer for all the people.
And then gave them a permission slip from their manager in case the city
that
tried
happened a
to
while
shut them
back.
down.
Yeah, if they come here, here's a letter that says that we're essential. That already been shot down for most parts. Like the places that are closing, because not every place is closed in non-essential stores.
Yeah.
But the places that are essential stores were like, you got to be kidding. You can't just hand me a note from your teacher saying I'm allowed to keep my store open. Screw the law. But plastic bags on their hands.
I mean, I wish we had
Pictures of them with plastic bags.
Well, no. I wish we had old Tim here. You know, Tim was a manager at these game places for a while, so he'd probably have a lot of stories. I know Blood Axe says he has his own horror stories at GameStop. You worked at GameStop. I didn't stop off at GameStop in my career.
I got a real job.
I worked electronics at Walmart. So
I went and got a real job quick after that, man. I worked there for a while and said, I gotta get the heck out of here. Oh my god.
No, working retail for an extended period of time will get you straight on a career path relatively easily. I mean, there's nothing like working retail to get you to want to go to college and get a
I mean, that's like I said, it's just the amazing. This is just one of many ways they showed no care. I mean, there's a bunch of stories where employees, including managers, went out and said they are making absolutely no attempt to do what they're supposed to do and protect their employees. Mm-hmm. This is a literal scenario of, do you want to keep your job? Then you go in and you risk your life, you risk your health, so we can keep making this money. Because there's been a huge boost in sales during this time. Like, people are going to buy video games to spend their time. I don't know why they're not ordering it digitally. I mean, you can basically on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, you can quite literally download your game directly. But oddly, people want to go in the store, I guess.
Yeah. And the editor points out it has been updated. Since then, the company has updated its guidelines, closing stores across the country and offering workers 2 weeks of pay and 1 month of benefits. Workers also do not have to work if they are not feeling well. So,
of course, we all know that they'll say, like, oh, if you don't feel well, you can go home.
Well, no, I think this is one of those things where internet outrage sort of works, you know? I mean, and that's one of the reasons why, I mean, I hate it when people get outraged on the internet about stupid things, because, it could screw up how outrage works when it actually makes sense, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is one of those cases where the outrage made sense and it was actually able to make a difference. But if we quit screaming wolf all the time on the internet, eventually nobody's going to listen to the outrage.
That is absolutely true.
But this is a case where I said it worked, so that's awesome. They did the right thing. It sucks it took them this for them to do the right thing. But
like literally to be facing civil fines and all of that.
and I'm sure there's plenty of other companies that aren't GameStop that are doing stupid stuff like this too.
Actually, there's
They
other
just don't
game
have-
retail shops.
Yeah, they just don't have the the voice
Visibility.
the visibility, yes, that GameStop has, because I mean you have, like I said, because of GameStop almost being a meme on the internet, GameStop stories do tend to get hurt.
'Cause I've actually watched video. There's a lot of other stores that are sneakily open that are in the same. They're basically other game stores, but they're small enough that everybody hasn't heard about it
Yeah.
yet. All right, so can we finally talk about it? We finally finished it. We
What-
finally
what?
saw the finale.
Is that everything? Have we gone through everything? Let's see. New Warriors, Marvel. Yeah, that's everything. Yeah. All right.
Castlevania
So,
season 3 then.
Well, let's do a random encounter, and then we'll talk about, wrap this up. Let's get our editor to roll a d20 for us, and then we'll
Come on, big money.
talk
no
about our
whammy.
impressions of.
That ain't big money.
Yeah, no, that's we already did that. 8 supernatural. Are ghosts real, and have you ever had a supernatural experience?
Have we rolled this one?
Yeah, we rolled this one before
Because I've
too.
talked about my house was haunted.
Yeah,
like over, I think I've talked about my house.
Yeah.
Like I lived in a house that was
Roll
like
again?
haunted.
Roll again.
And we talked about something where that came up. when I
Yeah,
talked
no,
about that.
we ran across this one.
I think it was a long while back.
Well, we did some really short episodes where we ended up doing a lot of, I think, random encounters. So it sort of got wizards and witches. Differences between, we did this one too.
Black magic and necromancy.
Yeah. 9, sex and religion. Would you watch Jason
Momoa in a
Momoa
film?
in a
What's
film in a film as Jesus Christ? Oh wow!
I'm having fun because I know Blood X is sitting like, man, screw you guys.
Yeah,
We're just wrecking his list.
So 9. So Jason Momoa. I mean, I don't really watch films about Jesus Christ personally. Why is this is a weird question?
Why don't you give us one more there? I'm sorry. Give us one more. Editor. I don't have anything for that.
We'll just here. What we'll do. We'll go. All right.
Wow, you got the same thing twice.
11, 14. So DJ rank these. Here we go. That's a good one. DJ rankings. Rank these villains: Thanos, Lex Luthor, Doctor Doom, and Galactus. Oh.
Who's going first? I got my list. I got my first.
Well, let's see if the editor has anything on this one.
I don't know who Galactus is. But
Galactus is a bit of a weird one.
Don't worry about it. Just roll with what you know.
Yeah.
so I'd probably go with Thanos first, and then Doctor Doom, and then Lex Luthor, and then Galactus. Because I don't know who Galactus is.
Mine is gonna be Doctor Doom, Lex Luthor, Thanos, Galactus.
All right.
You?
I will. I mean, I was really hoping you. I hate you first because Doctor Doom's the top of my
Doctor
list.
Doom is awesome. I mean, it's a
Now,
villain. I mean,
where I normally would have exactly your list and go Lex Luthor, I have to go Thanos. And the reason why is because Thanos has had a very good movie incarnation.
Yeah.
And Lex Luthor has only really had a good animated incarnation other than outside of the comics. So going on that.
Once again, I'm going off comics more so than movie.
I'm going off of a combination. Because if I went off of just comics and cartoons, it'd be Doctor Doom, Lex Luthor, Thanos, and Galactus.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, maybe Galactus and Thanos.
Because, I mean, going off of movies,
Galactus is interesting
Doctor
to me.
Doom has not been good in a movie yet.
But Doctor Doom is just such a better villain to me across the board. He just tops it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I like Lex Luthor a lot, but he's had some very weird incarnations, whereas I've loved every incarnation of Doctor Doom, and Thanos has multiple really good incarnations.
Minus movie incarnations of Doctor Doom.
Yes. Dr. Doom's so awesome, I don't care how bad his movies are. I just act like they don't exist. Dr. Doom's the dude, is the man. Thanos wins out because he has been really good in movies, really good in comics. The Infinity Gauntlet, dude. Lex Luthor doesn't have a saga like Thanos does that's like infamous across the comic book world. Everybody knows the Infinity Gauntlet. Everybody knows the Infinity Gauntlet. But if you told me, hey, there's a guest villain in this comic that's not normally in there, and the list of who I'd want to see, it'd be Dr. Doom, Thanos, then Lex Luthor.
Thanos to me is a bit of a flawed villain, though, and that's like a lot of his stuff was contradictory, you know, and didn't really make sense.
He's had some good moments of awesome, though, if you really delved into his comics.
No, I mean he's had some good moments, but as his overall villainness, there's been a lot of things that just don't quite make sense with this.
I know, but that's kind of why he's my second, because Dr. Doom, I like Dr. Doom because he's not a pure villain. There's a method to his madness and a reason, as there's Thanos. Lex Luthor hasn't always had the best motivation. I've seen some really good Lex Luthors, but they're rare. It's like the Lex Luthor from the Darkseid saga, man, was really cool. When he gets the, what's that, like, anti-life equation, was awesome. He's had some other good incarnations, but he's also had some bad incarnations, too, kind of like the Doctor Doom movie. He's had some really bad ones. His motivations have sometimes been complex, but sometimes they've been damn near as bad as Brawley, the original Brawley of just like, you know, Kal-El, like, I hate you because you're special.
And I mean, Doctor Doom is just such a complex character.
I know.
But I've always also, you know, one of my things is I like the more mental villains. So your Doctor Doom, your Lex Luthor, your
now we're not putting this order of power because we had to, like, Thanos and Galactus go to the top, and probably Galactus then Thanos, depending on if the Infinity Gauntlet's weighed in. We're doing it by, like you said, best story, and usually Thanos' encounters are really good. I want to know more about Thanos when I see him. I always want to know what Doctor Doom's up to. I kind of am curious about Lex Luthor. Galactus is a one-note villain. He's cool, but he's a one-note villain. But Lex Luthor is the next closest to a one-note villain out of the two to me as well. You know, like, he doesn't have the tragic past and all that. He just has the whole, Superman thinks he's so special, jealousy. I mean, he's literally the incarnation of jealousy. That's his real origin.
I mean, like, Kingpin would definitely go on my list.
Kingpin would beat Lex Luthor by far. Yeah, I'd rather Kingpin.
You know, but yeah, so.
Yeah, I'd put Kingpin above Lex Luthor any day of the week.
Where Galactus is super powerful and all this stuff, I don't know. He's always come off as cheesy.
He's a force of nature.
Yeah,
that's why he doesn't get high. He's literally just a force of nature. You know, and like I said, when I started finding out about Thanos' backstory, it was pretty interesting. But you do have to look for it. But he's got a messed up past, dude. Like, really messed up. And some of his, like, introspective moments when he sits down with Adam Warlock, like that one time where he literally gave up the Infinity Gauntlet because he just realized that it was unfulfilling, and they took the whole him living on a farm after the Infinity Gauntlet from a story where that's what he does, and Adam Warlock goes, in the end, you just decided to live a simple life, and it's like, that showed more complexity to the character than just being, I'm a card-carrying psychopath. Lex Luthor's had those moments, but they've also very often not had him have those moments. And I don't know which one's canon, because honestly, he's been a jealous a-hole more often than he's been a real intellectual half the time. So, you know. And
all right.
Is our chat still rolling? Our Blood X hasn't said that in a while.
I don't know, man.
It's been kind of quiet on the
all right, so last thing we were going to talk about, I guess, is we finally watched Castlevania. We finally finished it. A lot of the horror stories that I heard, I was glad that I did not feel they were adequate, or you know, that they were true. I think some people tried to pull the worst out of Castlevania, even though really some of the scenes that people complained about were not as bad as
yeah, I mean, are there some elements in there that people are claiming in there that are true? They're in there, but they're subtle. Nothing's overdone. I enjoyed it overall a lot. And when we watched it, there were basically 3 different story climaxes. I'm not going to spoil them. Yeah. But, like,
I mean, that was probably the most disappointing part of this season, was how divided the season was. Like, I do like being able to focus more on a story with having, I mean, literally it was like 4 different stories.
Yeah, I generally think
and-
that 2 is the most simultaneous stories. You should
And then
run
there were
side
some
by side.
sub stories inside those stories, you know. So you could even divide it up into even more stories where different characters within each storyline they were doing would have to have their focus time, you know.
Yeah.
So I would have liked to have seen a little more focus on some of the stuff, but at the same time, it wasn't bad.
So let me ask you a question. Of the 3 stories, which one, if you had to say they should have just ditched, which one would you have ditched to make it a 2-story, like I think it's the Otto version? Which 2 stories would you have kept? I want to see if they're the same as mine.
I mean, Isaac's story.
Oh wait, there were like 4 stories. Jesus,
I said
yeah, let's
4,
do 3.
yeah.
Yeah, let's do 3 out of 4 because that's a lot to ditch.
I mean, honestly,
well, no, 2 is better.
I probably would have kept Isaac's story and the Belmont storyline.
You're not the same as mine. Okay.
I didn't really care much for the Alucard storyline.
Oh, yeah, that's an easy one I could have dropped.
Now, I mean, and then the I don't know. The other storyline was sort of needed though. Like the Alucard storyline could have been tossed. I think the other 3 were sort of needed,
Dude,
but I think some of it could have been condensed down.
if I had to drop down to 2, I didn't think we'd have difference on this because don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Belmont fan, but nah, dude, I'd have kept Isaac and Hector. I feel like they're the ones that are going to be important coming up. I mean, at the end of what happened, I mean, basically the Belmont arc starts and ends very quickly. It wasn't a major story arc because it's already done. It's just done.
Yeah,
like,
but
it was a little short story that could have been left out.
I can't see running Castlevania without the Belmont story.
No, they probably should have tied them into the other story. Put it like this. I'm not saying they shouldn't have been in the season, but you could have followed them without trying to make it a full story. Like, just show what they're doing, have a drop in, like you said, like a little side story. But they tried to make it another arc. They tried to run 4 arcs. They should have ran 2 arcs, with the other 2 being just kind of a little drop in. Oh, look, something's happened over here. They put too much attention on them, and they went on too long. I really think they went on too long.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I think just the Hector story could have been condensed. And I think the Alucard story could have been dropped. And then you just have the Belmont story and the Isaac story. And you may have been able to get a little further on those.
Yeah, but here's what I think. Why I think the Hector story beats out the Belmont story. For the purpose of season 4,
I'm also trying not to do spoilers here, so.
But yeah, we're not. But the Hector and Isaac story matter to what season 4 is going to have going on. It actually changed something. If you took out the Belmont story, it changes nothing about season 4. Think about it. What happened that carries over to season 4? Almost nothing. A little bit of character development, not even that much. And the Alucard, a little bit of character development, not even that much. They end in the same place they started. This is not a spoiler. They start on a wagon, they end on a wagon. Just the 2 of them.
Yeah.
Alucard starts alone, he ends alone. That's all. But Isaac and Hector end up in very different places at the end of their stories. Very different places.
Yeah, no, you're right there. Their stories tend to push the arc along where the other 2 are a bit filler.
Like, had things went differently at the end of the Belmont story, there might be more there, but it didn't. They resolved the storyline completely.
I don't know. That could still come up. There's stuff in the Belmont story that could still come up.
I don't know. They shut it down pretty good, though, man. They put a bow on it. I mean, it could come back up, but you wouldn't miss it if they just started from that part either.
And then the Alucard story was more character building. It could adapt how his character will act in the future.
Yeah, it's his character development, but like season 4, it's just going to be the character development carrying over.
Yeah.
Whereas the other 2 stories, they made a difference. They're going to be the driving force of season 4. In fact, season 4's real climax is going to be Isaac/Hector. Period. That's going to be the main whole arc. Now, if they rehash some of the elements from the Alucard and Belmont story, they could be a part of season 4, but they're going to have to rehash it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I got you. All right, I think we're going to end it there.
But let's say this, though. It was awesome and we liked it. No, we didn't rate it. We liked it. It was good.
I already said I enjoyed it. I thought you did too. You
Put a number on it, sucker.
I'm not putting a number on it. It's worth watching. It's not the best season, but it's good.
He's been like this, you know. He can't go to the bars and pubs.
Look, man, social distancing. You just touched me, man. You slapped me a second ago. I felt it. You were like, ah. Now I'm gonna get the virus. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Be sure to check us out on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. You can go to Dicejunkies.com to find links to everywhere we can be found online. We do this show every Sunday, or at least try to do it every Sunday, unless life prevents us from it, at 3:30 on Twitch Central Time. What? You're the one that had the birthday party for your kid last Sunday. That's all the eyes, man. I'm watching the screen. You know,
the way things are going, could be the last birthday for all of us.
Who knows? Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we hope to have you here next time. You can join us in the chat room with Blood Axe. He looks like he's getting bored in there. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.